class. This is a 7th grade class, correct? So, how was everyone's winter break? Everyone have a good winter break? So we'll come right back from winter break right now.
That's perfect.
Okay? So, we're gonna start by doing a little bit of review. I know that things kind of float away out of your brain when you're around Christmas time. So first up, today we're actually going to do a couple things. We're going to be able to properly identify triangles, properly graph those triangles, and properly calculate the area of different kinds of triangles. So today's area triangle centric. So these are the 6 kinds of triangles. Okay. So if you remember, we have like equilateral, isosceles, scaling, obtuse, right, and acute. Okay. These, in this particular graphic organizer, they are separated by side and by angle. Okay, because there's, they do a little bit of crossover, but that's kind of how we separate them. So go ahead. So the first thing we're actually going to do, okay, have everybody take out a piece of paper, please. It doesn't matter if it's a line, it doesn't matter if it's probably not graphing using paper, probably wouldn't be the best. Yeah, at this point, grabbing paper is not good. Alright, thumbs up when you're ready to go. You guys good in that back corner? Joseph, you guys good? You guys have a piece of paper? Perfect. All right, so I'm actually going to do this with you guys real quick. So if everyone has a piece of paper, you fold it in half like a hot dog. Okay, then when you have that, fold in half again like a hamburger. Yeah, now it's a hot burger. Okay. So when you do that, you can unfold it. You have 4 equal rectangles. Let's hide the holes. So what we're going to do, we actually follow these directions. We did these 2 already. We did this one already. So now you're going to label each section, each square. Each individual square has these 4 things: name, side, angle, and picture. Each one of these squares has those 4 things. You can write them right on the top. Okay? So can everyone do that for me real quick?
All 4 of them?
Yes, please. They'll take care of the question over here. You good? No, each square has one of those.
I'm confused.
So just one in square.
So
Yeah.
name in one square?
Yes.
Okay.
Name in one square, size in the other square.
That makes sense.
Yeah. You'll have one box for each different label.
No, it's me one side. What we're doing is we're actually creating your own. You're creating your own notes and graphic organizers, so you can actually see.
Can I show this to everybody? So here's a good example of what it should look like. One in each square.
That's so unique.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So you can actually write these out. So you can equilateral, right? Name. That means that it has 3 sides, 3 equal angles. Okay. So if you follow this, you should be able to go right down the list. Equilateral, right, isosceles, and obtuse. Everyone's giving me eyeballs. Is
He
it
wants to copy that down to this.
Yes. In each section. I just want to make sure everyone's on the right track. Yes. Yeah.
So for names. Oh, gotcha.
And if you're looking for a example of a picture, you guys can always also reference that worksheet, the sheet that we gave you with each table, which is basically a picture of the wheel we were going over in the beginning. many more minutes do you think you guys need? A couple more minutes? A couple more minutes?
We supposed to draw them too.
Yes, please. And you can even, if you're not unsure, you can even use these as reference. For sure. Alright, as you're finishing up, I'm just gonna emphasize the fact that this is one way to organize this information. There are several ways you can organize this information. You can put these 4 things each individual in each square and go from there. There's depending on how you'd like to have it set up. I only have enough for one of those per group, but if you'd like another copy of that, I can. If you'd like another copy of that, I can give that to you if that's how you like the information provided. That's not a problem. Nice triangles, I like it. I agree. Oh, no, I can very read that. Alright, anybody have any questions so far? This is kind of jogging your memory from the review and the break, before the break? Maybe? Okay. Alright, so as you're finishing this up, like I mentioned, there are several different ways you can organize this information. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. With that, are you guys almost done? With that, making this? Because this is something you can keep in your notes, you can refer back to it later. It's always, there's always a lot of weird rules when it comes to triangles, so. Perfect. With that, we're gonna have Jason take over. Yeah, go ahead.
Alright guys, so now that we know about triangles, we're gonna work on, what's the trick? The arrows?
Yeah, I don't know if that always works.
Okay. Alright, so now we're going to look at how to calculate the area of the triangles. Alright? So, there's, different shapes that you can have for the triangles. It's all gonna be the same formula. So don't let the fact that they look a little bit different throw you. But you're always gonna have a base. So that's like the flat part at the bottom. And then the height is the point from the very top section straight down to where the base would be, okay? And so to get the area, which we say is a capital A, that's the variable that we use for that, is equal to half of the product of the base and the height. So what is product to you guys? Yes, times or multiplication. Awesome. Alright. So,
You got it?
yeah.
I believe you did.
Okay, so now, so does anybody remember the formula for the area of a rectangle? Base times height, yes. So that triangle is kind of similar. It's half the base times height. All right. So there's a cool little way that you can take any triangle, and then you can take a duplicate of it. So you got twice the area of the triangle, and you can figure out how to make it into a rectangle. And that's kind of how the area formula comes from. So you have like a rectangle with the same base and height, and you have half of it, which makes a triangle. So now we're gonna watch this
In another video, we saw that if we're looking at the area of a parallelogram, and we also know the length of the base, and we know its height, that the area is still going to be base times height. Now, it's not as obvious when you look at the parallelogram, but in that video, we did a little manipulation of the area. We said, hey, let's take this little section right over here. So we took that little section right over there, and then we move it over to the right-hand side. And just like that, you see that as long as the base and the height is the same as this rectangle here, I'm able to construct the same rectangle by moving that area over. And
You press the button.
So, what that guy just showed
Let me just.
was
we know that we
that
can find over. And that's why
if you've
the
already got
area,
the parallelogram, you just kind of shift that tiny little portion over, and then all of a sudden, you've got a rectangle with the exact same dimensions of base and height. And then the next thing he's gonna show is once you have a triangle, how you can get it into that parallelogram. Alright?
we know the right-hand side, and just like that, you see that as long as the base and the height is the same as this rectangle here, I'm able to construct the same rectangle by moving that area over. And that's why the area of this parallelogram is base times height. I didn't add or take away area, I just shifted area from the left-hand side to the right-hand side to show you that the area of that parallelogram was the same as this area of the rectangle. It's still going to be base times height. So hopefully that convinces you that the area of a parallelogram is base times height, because we're now going to use that to get the intuition for the area of a triangle. So let's look at some triangles here. So that is a triangle, and we're given the base and the height. And we're gonna try to think about, well, what's this area, what's the area of this triangle going to be? And you can imagine it's going to be dependent on base and height. Well, to think about that, let me copy and paste this triangle. So let me copy, and then let me paste it. And what I'm going to do is, so now I have two of the triangles, so this is now going to be twice the area. And I'm going to rotate it around. I'm going to rotate it around like that. Rotate it around like that. And then add it to the original area. And you see something very interesting is happening. I have now constructed a.
Alright, so do you guys see how you kind of doubled the volume or the area of the triangle, moved it around, and all of a sudden you've got a parallelogram? Alright, so you've got a parallelogram with twice the area of the triangle, and so now you know that the triangle is half the area of the parallelogram. Okay? So that's just kind of like a visual way to see kind of where that 1/2 times base times height comes from. Alright?
Did you want to watch the video with that guy?
No, that was.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So now what we're gonna do.
I think it
is-
lights back on.
Alright, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna practice having a triangle and having a whole bunch of different measurements on it and figuring out how we're gonna get the area. Alright? So this is our triangle that we're gonna practice on. Alright? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna see if we can find the base and the height. Alright? So with your guys' groups, for like 15 seconds, talk about what you think the base and the height is gonna be for this picture up there. And if you want to draw pictures, that's always a really helpful way for me. If that helps, go for it.
You guys can do this. Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in more detail. Let's take that as a group for sure. Well, which one's the base? Which one?
Get out.
Just making sure you know what we're doing. Don't worry, your face isn't showing.
You guys can do this.
Oh, are you about?
Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna in really sharp airplanes.
Alright, guys. So who, raise your hand if you think that your team got it. Alright, raise yours up first. What do you guys think the base and the height was? Okay. I didn't realize you guys are score guys. Okay, and why did you pick 4 rather than like 9 or 5 or something?
Because it goes from the tippy top down to where the base is.
Yes, exactly. And then I always consider the right angle, yeah, straight down. Alright, so we've got our base and our height. Next, we're gonna use the formula. So, how about another team? Who remembers the formula for the area of a triangle?
base time height,
What is it?
half base time height.
Exactly. So we've got half of the base times the height. So now we're at this point. What do you think we're gonna do? What do you guys?
Multiply 12 times 1.
There we go. So now once we have our formula, we just plug stuff in. And then it's just a matter of doing the math. Alright, so we have 48 divided by 2, and then the area equals 24. Alright, so now it's your guys' turn. This is going to be your homework. And then, so we're going to do, 1 or 2 problems right now, just to see you guys kind of get the gist. And then whatever we don't finish, we'll finish that tomorrow. Alright, so, work with your partners. And so start with A, and then if you guys finish that one real quick, you can do B and C. And then I'll walk around and see how you guys are doing with that.
We're good.
Feel free to talk amongst your group if you have any questions or collaborate for sure.
Deep dive into
Beautiful answer to that. I like it. You make it. Yeah, hey, showing work's important to know that you know the process. Important to know the process.
What's that?
I was reading this.
Oh, gotcha. Exactly, yeah. And honestly, I think these two problems is the first point. It's like, oh, this. Sweet. Looks like you're doing good.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard. Mental math. Triangle milk.
Oh, so, okay, yeah, I did forget this too much now. So guys, like sometimes when we do practice problems, they're just kind of like fake and we just have a number times a number, but in real life, like we always have like a measurement. So are we measuring our triangles like in inches or feet or stuff like that? So technically, if the numbers have a measure with them, like feet or inches or something, like the first one it's meters. When you multiply a meter and a meter, the area you get is meters squared. So just remember to put your units in as well. So does anybody have any questions on the units for that? So you guys. So for yours, you guys have some for the units. So you got like meters squared, you got meters. So which one do you guys consider? Yeah, because we have a meter times.
I know you came in a little late, you were right over here.
And then, so when we had, the first one was 24 meters. So what did you do with the air? How would you say does that make sense? And then this one, units, and we have area times the length, so it's meters times. So how do you do that? Exactly. Sweet. All right, well, like going around the class, looking at what you guys are working on, it seems like everybody is on the right track. So we'll just finish this up for homework. And so you guys are already like halfway done. So awesome. All right. So now, Jay Steele, tell us more about graphing.
Alright, so let's go ahead and get our Chromebooks out, or laptops, whatever we brought today. For real? Alright, so when we get our Chromebooks up, we are going to go to Desmos. I know we've used this before, so we should know where to go. Desmos.com/calculator. will be the screen you see
Yes,
when you pull it up. Can I get a thumbs up when we are all here? We're gonna be doing a little bit of review with graphing as well. So we're gonna use our graphs in order to create triangles, which we're gonna find the areas of once we've created them. So does anybody have any questions on graphing before we move on? It's not too scary, this one, it's gonna graph it for you, but we're gonna get a good representation of what these graphs look like. Anybody still need more time? Alright, so for our first graph, in the first section, these are what we're gonna be putting in. So it's gonna look like this, right here, y equals 5, and you're gonna click right below it. For the second one, x equals 20.
We literally type y equals 5.
Yep, so in that first box, you're just gonna type y equals 5. Second box, x equals 20, and then the third one, y equals 2x minus 15. And it's gonna automatically graph those for you. Oh, and another thing, so this little wrench up here in the top right corner, you're gonna have to change your window just a little bit. So mine was automatically changed, but right here, this x-axis, we're gonna make -5 and then 30. So we have a better range and we can see everything that's in the picture. Yeah, it's gonna be -5 and 30 for both of those. And that is at this wrench up in the top right corner. Yeah, so we should all have 3 inputs put in there, and then our window should be changed. Alright, does anybody still need more time? Alright, so once we are here, we can see that we have a triangle now, right? These 3 lines have created this triangle up here. So, did anybody think they could solve for the area as of right now? With the information that's on the screen? Jordan, you shaking your head yes? What's the area?
10 times 20, 200 divided by 200.
So, one way we can do this is if we click here, it's gonna give us the coordinates. That way, Jordan was able to see it, but this way now we have the numbers so we know for sure, right? So now, all we have to do is simple subtraction to find what the base and the height of this triangle are. So does everybody see that? So if our coordinates are 10 and 5 and 20 and 5, it's just a difference of 10 there. So our base would be 10. Everybody clear on that? And then for the height that we're looking at right here, it's a difference of 5 and 25. So our height would be 20. So when we go to plug that in, what was the formula again? Somebody give me the formula? Area equals 1/2 base times height. So now we know both of those. So we know our base is 10 and our height is 20. So we're able to plug that in and solve for that, right? So what was it, Jordan?
100.
100. Alright. So let's move on to our second graph. So you can keep the same window. All you're going to do is punch in 3 new values right here. So we're going to have x equals 0, y equals 1/2 x. And if you just type 1/2, it's going to create the fraction for you automatically. You don't have to do anything else with it. So right here in this one, we can just go 1-2, it's going to create it for us. So this one's gonna look a little different when we get there. So something that could happen pretty easily, you just saw. So if we stick the X on the bottom with our 2, it's gonna give us 2 lines because you're not creating a linear graph anymore. So we just have to make sure that that X gets next to the fraction and not part of the fraction. And then that'll create the line, which is the blue one that you're gonna be looking at right there. So, which color line do we want to pick as our base for this one?
My color.
What color are yours?
Mine's green, blue, gray.
And gray. Which is the gray, this one right here?
No, my blue is the red one.
Okay, so let's stick with the one on the board then, that way everybody's able to see that one. We might have different colors, but that's okay. We'll just look here and then you can reference your screen for your line. So, which color from the screen do we want to use for our base then? The red one? I agree. I would choose the red one as well. What would be our base of the red one then? 30? Okay. So, once we have the base now on the red one, where do we want to measure from for our height now? If you could,
2010.
at the 2010 point, right? So that's the top of that triangle now?
Yeah.
So essentially we rotated that triangle to get the base on the bottom, the red line on the bottom, and now the point is up top at 2010 now, right? So what is our height gonna be now? What is this length from this point down to the red line?
20.
10 or 20? 20, right? So look, right under this dot, we can see 20 represents that length, right? Right here, that represents where this 20 is. So this length all the way over here is 20. All right, the 10 is how far it is above this line, so we need to look at this one. So we're referencing that 20 now, right? So we have 20 and 30 as our base and our height. So has anybody calculated that yet, what the area of this one is? What is it? 300, right? Anybody have any questions on that one? Alright, so we have one more. So we're gonna have 3 new lines to plug in over there, and it's gonna create one more triangle for us. Alright, so it looks like everybody has that one graphed already. Anybody need more time? Alright, so looking at this one, a different one again, right? Another way we're gonna have to look at finding the base and the height. So, can I have somebody from this group tell me which color from this graph up here you would like to use for your base? The red one? I agree. So what would our base be there? 15, right? So now when we have to look for our height, there's nothing inside this triangle that we can use to find our height, right? Because it is outside the base, right? The apex of the triangle is outside of the area of the triangle, right? So what did we do from those worksheets that you had before to find the height there now? What do you do from that point, huh?
Flip it across the, parallel.
You wanna flip it across?
You use 16 to 20, so then you subtract.
What'd you say, Aaron?
Draw
Draw a straight line down, right? So if we go straight down from there, we still have the height. So if we go down straight from 2020 down to the 20 mark, we're gonna have our height now, right? And you'll see that on that worksheet, those obtuse triangles, they have that dotted line straight down outside of the triangle, right? You should all have that on the worksheets that you had earlier. So what is our height now? 20, right? So we have 20 as our height, 15 for our base. So what is our area of this triangle? Say it out loud. There we go. Alright. And so you just have the rest to finish your homework.